Hey guys, I'm Devin Harrington, the average Gen Xer. Welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to take a look at some fat acceptance TikToks. And if you clicked on this video, you probably already know what that is. But if you don't, TikTok is the place where shame goes to die. And there's a whole section of TikTok that is full of people who belong to the fat acceptance movement. Some people call themselves fat liberationists. I believe it came out of the body positivity movement. But anyway, we're going to take a look at what some people over there are saying. Most of these folks make videos where they try to convince us and themselves that they love being fat, that there's nothing wrong with being morbidly obese, that they're totally healthy, that it's totally fine to eat whatever you want in any quantity you want, and that being 250, 300, 400, 500 pounds and beyond is fine, and it's nobody's business. Now, it must be said, if you go out in public and rag on fat people, then you're an asshole. Just mind your business. Don't do that. But if you're a morbidly obese person putting yourself on TikTok, dancing around in your underwear, talking about how great it is to be fat, then yeah, people are going to have some opinions. And I didn't want this to be strictly just a reaction video because there's a million people doing that. I wanted to just kind of tell a little bit of my story and give it a Gen X perspective, if you will. Before we take a look at this, super special thanks to Celestial TikToks over on YouTube for putting this compilation together. Please go show them some love. And I need to say, I mean, fucking thank Christ that there was no internet and no social media when I was growing up back in the day in the 80s and 90s. Because when you're young, let's say like your teens to your 30s is still very young for those of you who haven't got there. You tend to do very extreme things because you can, right? You're young, you're practically immortal. And the vast majority of the fat acceptance movement is made up of young women. A few men, but young women. And in my opinion, morbid obesity now, the way it's become just so normalized here in the US, is a form of extremism. And it kind of reminds me of like back in the 90s. Grunge music was king. And to be quite honest, the heroin flowed quite freely. It was just everywhere. It was just part of the culture. Having a dope habit was almost required to be a grunge musician or a fan of grunge music. It was a weird time in culture, but it just permeated pop culture, even spawning the heroin chic look or trend in fashion and print modeling. And anyone who was around back then probably remembers that. Anyway, so it became normalized for a time among young Gen Xers. So if my young, dumb self had been on social media, if we'd had that back then, you would have seen me snorting dope off the Nevermind CD case and running around committing crimes and doing all kinds of dumb shit to get drugs and all the stuff that comes with that addiction. Now, of course, I am not glorifying nor advocating for heroin addiction. I don't even know if I can say that on YouTube. Or any other kind of addiction. It was a miserable life, 0 stars, do not recommend. But the point is, at the time, it was normalized among my peer group, which was, regular teenage and early 20s kids in the suburbs. And the normalization of being morbidly obese and flaunting it online kind of has a similar feeling to me. Say whatever you will about why fat activists are fat, but no human gets to be that grossly overweight without an addiction to processed food, fast food, junk food, high fructose corn syrup, ultra processed carbs. You get the picture, right? The law of thermodynamics applies to all of us. Very, very, very few humans ever got to be even somewhat overweight before the 1970s, when fast food became normalized and widespread. Packaged snack foods became available in mass quantities in every type of store. That started in like the early 80s. The Happy Meal was introduced in the US in 1979 when I was 8 years old. I still remember my very first Happy Meal. My brain just lit up because fast food is not really food. It's food like products. It's genetically engineered and it is designed chemically to make you addicted to it. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube. We'll see. Anyway, Coca-Cola replaced sugar with high fructose corn syrup in its formula in 1980. 7-Eleven stores introduced the unheard of before then 32-ounce Big Gulp cup in 1976. And this normalized people drinking ridiculous amounts of soda, which you never need to drink. No human body ever needs to drink soda. And so the rise of obesity began. And only a few decades later, the US, as everybody in the world knows, is the fattest society to ever exist in the history of the known fucking universe. So, because of sugar and junk food addiction, this is all happening. Sugar causes huge surges of dopamine in the brain, just like drugs. So, yeah, to me, there's not a whole lot of difference between the two addictions. So, before I was addicted to dope in the 90s, I was a teenager in the 80s addicted to sugar. And we didn't have the term binge ED back then, but I suffered from it. I started using sugar to cope with stress when I was 9 years old. And I started trying to diet my way out of the consequences shortly after. And I won't bore you with all the details of that and my sad childhood and blah, blah, blah. But right now, suffice to say that I spent my teens in a relentless cycle of trying to lose weight, binging on junk food for emotional reasons, then feeling shame and guilt of failing at dieting and soothing myself with more junk food. In my teens, my life revolved around my love for horses. Actually, my life still revolves around my love for horses, but that's a whole other video. Anyway, I did something called saddle seat equitation. It's a form of competitive horsemanship where you ride and compete in horse shows. And it's the kind of sport where the thinner you are, the better you look on your horse. It's a lot like ballet, which was my other sport that I liked to do when I was a teenager. The thinner you are, the better you look. And because of my extra weight, I spent my entire teenage years being relentlessly fat shamed, another word we didn't have back then, by my riding instructor, and absolutely hating myself for not being skinny enough to be taken seriously at the sport that I loved with all my heart. We didn't have the term fat shaming back then, as I said, but we also didn't think it was anything out of the ordinary with young girls being objectified into thinking that their entire worth was connected to the number on the scale. That was just normal back then. Are you ready to see how fat I was? Here's a picture of me from about 1986, being way too fat to be considered good enough to compete at the sport that I loved with all my heart. The look on my face says it all in this picture. It didn't matter how hard I worked or how much I wanted it. I was just not good enough because I was a size 12. And that god-awful wool suit that I'm wearing, this riding suit, was really tight on my 29-inch waist. So that's the perspective I'm coming from when I look at these TikToks. I grew up thinking that I was so ungodly fat because I carried an extra 15 or 20 pounds. And that was pretty normal back then. And this is what is becoming normal, or is already normal, in the United States. And though I am very glad that society has realized that the way things were done way back then was fucking unhealthy bullshit, the pendulum has swung way, way too far in the other direction. And now it's just different fucking unhealthy bullshit. So here we go.
Yeah, makeup, make out.
Wow. You got to admire the confidence, you know? I mean, back in the day, size 12, I felt like I looked like her size at the beach. I did not think I looked very good in a bathing suit at all because of the body shaming that went on. So good for these gals for being so confident in themselves, but the problem is that they're young, and that's, gravity's going to happen and your joints are going to wear out, and it's just a product of processed fast food, junk food, blah blah blah, and it's habits that can be changed. So you're doing it to yourself. I was doing it to myself, binging on junk food, and I still struggle with it. So I don't know why they want to make it everyone's problem.
That fucking selves on TikTok.
Wow.
I'm sick of seeing all these fucking rolls.
I don't see how you can hate from outside of the club.
Okay, so how old is this woman? You know, she could be 30, she could be 50, but judging by her hair, I mean, she could even be in her 20s. Maybe, God, I don't know. I don't know this creator, whoever she is, but look at the visceral fat. This gut right here has got to weigh 100 pounds. Imagine what her lower back feels like.
You can't even get in. Leg out.
Universal Studios
Damn.
for not making
perfect example of fat phobia and thin
Fat
privilege.
phobia and thin privilege. Okay, fat phobia, what is that? Somebody that really knows, please tell me what is fat phobia. Because is it the fear of getting fat, or the fear of fat people? And if so, how fat is fat? Because what used to be fat is normal size now. And what used to be just the extreme is just called fat.
People deserve to take up
Yeah,
space.
they deserve to take up a normal amount of space. They deserve to take up space and take care of themselves. And they deserve to love themselves and be happy with themselves. And at least be trying to eat less crap. Because this is how we got to this size. Nobody gets to this size without eating crap. And I'm not saying that everyone should be perfect. There is no such thing. I'm not saying that you should never eat fast food or never drink soda or whatever. I'm not trying to say that. That's not realistic. That's not the world we live in. But less. Jesus fucking Christ, less.
People deserve to be accommodated for their body sizes. Obesity is a slur. It's based
Obesity is a medical term. Jesus Christ. It doesn't matter what you call it. You are still your size. You are still carrying around an ungodly amount of excess body weight that is weighing on you. That is the only good things can happen if you ate less, if you ate more whole foods, if you spent less money on Uber Eats and takeout and fast food and drive-throughs and all this crap. Only good things can happen. You will be in so much in a better state of health. Even if you just lose a few pounds. I went from 210 to 165, and it's like a whole different world. And that's not a ton of weight. But on a woman's frame, the average woman is like 5'5", and I'm 5'4.5", so I'm pretty freaking average. And most American women are around that size. I mean, if you're a genetic freak, fine. But The vast majority of women look like this because they're eating crap and drinking soda, uh, energy drinks, Starbucks. You know, we white girls love our Starbucks, and it's garbage. It's fast food.
The BMI, which is
Yeah, they
racist.
hate the BMI. They think it's racist. They think it's white nationalist. It's a mathematician that created it. And maybe the BMI is outdated. A lot of people think that the waist to height ratio is much more valid as a system of measurement as far as a general idea of your what your health is like, or what your body composition is like. And so how about that? Will that satisfy you? No, that won't, because the vast majority of these folks are carrying this weight around their middle because it's visceral, around your organs, fat wrapped around your organs. Now, we all have a certain amount of fat that should be there, and I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you what I know about it from watching people that know far more than me. But visceral fat is horrible. And this is what I can tell you from the other side of menopause. There's a dirty word for you. I don't think YouTube even likes that word. Um, Once you start those hormone changes, it's so much easier to gain fat in your body cavity. It's insane. I could not believe the size of my gut, which I had always been more of a hourglass to pear shaped woman. And all of a sudden, I had this huge, fat, apple shaped gut. It was awful. Awful. What are you doing?
It was not created by a healthcare provider, it was created by a
No, no,
mathematician. It's not really beneficial for health at all or determine health. Use words like person of larger
no,
size.
no. We're not in kindergarten. There is a medical term, it's called obesity. And then beyond that is morbid obesity. And beyond that is super morbid obesity. And that's just medical terms. If they hurt your feelings, then that's your problem.
I think it's funny having a thin person constantly use that word and blame the individual for their weight gain, not knowing their circumstances, saying that it's not corporations' jobs to accommodate those
What
people.
circumstances? What percentage of obese and morbidly obese people have a metabolic or medical condition that has caused them to gain weight through no fault of their own? And by through no fault, we're all the ones that put the fork in the mouth, put the food in the mouth. We all are feeding ourselves. I mean, except with a few rare exceptions. But what you eat is the only thing that determines the size of your body. If you have a medical condition, okay, that may have something to do with it. But that's still, the law of thermodynamics still applies to you. If you have a thyroid condition or whatnot that causes you to only burn a very small amount of calories, you could still lose weight if you really stuck to whole foods, no carbs, all of that crap. I mean, this is not rocket science, but in this country, particularly in the US, we're lazy and we love the drive through and we love the convenience. And so we love to use that as our excuse.
Much just saying that like fat people don't matter. It's okay to
No, we're saying
discriminate
you do matter and that you should take better care of yourself.
against them. This person even said like the majority of people are thin and they are regular
Not in
size,
the
even
US. 2/3 of the entire country is obese now.
though that's not the case at all. It's kind of comical because they're so privileged in this world that they can only see this world from
As if
themselves.
people that aren't as if people that are able to eat themselves to a huge size, if that isn't privilege, then what is? You're you're able to access so much convenience food that you could just not even leave your house and have it delivered as many times a day as you want. And you think that people that choose not to do that are privileged?
and they don't truly care the effect that their words have on fat people and how harmful that
Yeah,
is and
well,
how
if you're out in public and people are talking smack to you, then that's not cool. Don't be a fucking asshole. Just mind your business. But if you're talking, I'm talking you, meaning this lady, you're putting yourself on TikTok. And if you're upset by the comments, then fucking disable them.
discriminatory this is, and there's no like kindness or compassion about how that would feel for the person in the larger body, or any kind of understanding either that it is a person you are talking about. It's a person, they're not
Mm,
invisible, but all you keep saying is obese, is obese. You don't deserve to be accommodated because you are fat. You do not matter because you are fat. Fat people
yes,
matter.
they matter. They matter, and they should not be harassed in public, but they should not be catered to. Should drug addicts be catered to? You know, when I was a heroin addict, heroin makes you puke all the time, and I was puking left, right, and center. I'd stop the car and open the door and puke. Should I be on TikTok now, if that was the case, demanding that airplanes and everywhere has a bucket outside the door so that I can puke? I mean, this is ridiculous. You do not deserve anything to be coddled. You do not deserve to be rewarded for your bad behavior. And a lot of these folks grew up obese. A lot of them will say that they've always been fat since childhood. They're just born this way, et cetera, et cetera. And it may be true that they've always been obese, which is very sad. There would seem to be some failure from their caregivers, whoever raised them. But you're an adult now. The law of thermodynamics applies to you, and you have to get your shit together and eat less fast food, less processed crap, less sugar, less high fructose corn syrup, less, you know, whatever.
Fat people matter.
What makes you think it's okay to show off your fat body? Mama raised a soldier, not a bitch. No, she raised an obese woman who clearly eats too much processed crap. So if you were a soldier, you would have been raised not to accept this. You are a bitch. You're a bitch to your food addiction. I mean, how? How? This girl looks young. See, that's the thing. They dance around in their underwear, but they don't. I mean, these what I eat in a day things right now are so popular, and the people that are on there doing it, the people who are obese that post what I eat in a day videos, they will say in the beginning, what I eat in a day is a fat person who's not trying to lose weight. So if this is good, this girl, if what she looks like and the way her body is and the way she treats herself is great, then I would love to see what she eats in a day, because how do you maintain this kind of size if you were just eating, 1800 calories a day and swimming a couple times a week and, acting like a normal fucking human being instead of eating whatever you need to eat to get to this size? Yeah, slay queen. Fat piece. Okay, so the whole thing with this movement is that they claim to love themselves and they love their body the way it is, and it's really just a cop out. It's a way to just let yourself go and not care and turn it around so that you can convince yourself, I'm living my best life, bitches. But You're not. If you really loved yourself, you would do your best to take care of yourself. And that doesn't mean being perfect. I'm going to just keep saying this like a broken record. It doesn't mean to be perfect. It doesn't mean to never treat yourself. It doesn't mean to live on broccoli and chicken breast. It just means eat more like a human being instead of a garbage disposal. Eat more real food that you cook yourself. I mean, we have every possible convenience in this country, and this is the result, is the vast majority of the country is now starting to look like this. We have just become so narcotized, is it a word, narcotized, um, by the convenience and the convenience food and the drive through and the ability to just order shit without even talking to a person, just on your phone and have it show up at the door. It's just it's too much. It's extremism, and extremism in any form is fucking not good. Yeah, good for you. Enjoy the sun. That's great. Fantastic. Okay, so this is J Bay, the travel size 6X travel plus size travel vlogger reviewer. I'm going to turn the music off because it's copyrighted. And she's young. I mean, she's got to be in her 20s, I think. So how do you get to be this size when you're so young only? She would have to have been someone who was obese since childhood. And the sad thing about this is that the body just becomes normal. It becomes normal in your brain. It becomes normal in your mind. She's the one that's out there with the petition asking for airplanes to give second and third free seats to plus size travelers so they can be comfortable. But she looks like she's just so used to this that it's normal to her. And that is a problem. That is a big fucking problem because that's where we're heading. You know, this other lady that was right before this, she's quite a bit smaller than this girl. And she is like, this is like kind of normal. But soon, this is going to be normal. And that's not fucking good. This girl is like probably, I mean, she looks like she's pretty short and she's got to be over 400 pounds. Look at the amount of visceral fat around her gut. And sorry, going back to J-Bay. The fat around her chin, her double chin. When I was 205, I would lay down and I had, you know, I still got a little fat under my chin, but I had like a little bit more. But I felt like I was strangling just lying flat because of the extra weight. And I don't even have big breasts. And I don't know, can I say that on YouTube? I don't. But everything just weighed on my chest. And I was 205. And this girl is like got 200 pounds on that. And she looks like she's shorter than I am. I don't understand how this can become normal when it's so uncomfortable and so unreasonable. God. But good for you, J-Bay.
Now this is a bikini body.
Yep.
Oh, see,
Another young girl. Most likely been chunky or heavy all her life. And it's amazing how you can just get so used to it. I mean, I was used to being um, 20 pounds overweight, and I've struggled with that same fucking 20 pounds. And, 30 here and 40. And now I've lost about 40 pounds, 205 to 165. So, and it's a different world. But this movement would say that it's fat phobic of me to want to lose weight for myself.
How much of your pursuit of thinness or what you call health is actually a pursuit of thin privilege?
None. There is no such thing as thin privilege. People are of a certain size. Human beings are of a certain size range. And it's a fairly wide range, but there's being a little bit overweight, which is not great, but okay. We were designed to sometimes carry some extra weight. Um, but then there's being grossly overweight because of your diet, because of the sheer volume of garbage food that is available to us now. And over the course of, I mean, what's this girl, 20 something?
Ooh, this is a good
This is
one.
what you
Kayla,
look
your fat
like.
positive therapist. And when we're talking about thin privilege, we're talking about how society treats you better if you were in a thinner body. The world
You're not in any body. You have a body, and it is the reflection of how you treat yourself.
is made for thin people. You are assumed to be healthy, kind, active, morally good, all these things based on the size of your body. And so what this does when people are in larger bodies, they're going to manipulate their bodies and end up feeling like crap in order to engage in that thin privilege. They just want to not feel terrible for once in their life. They want to feel like
So she's saying they're going to engage in crap and they're going to feel terrible, meaning what? You're going to starve yourself. You're going to somehow end up with an ED because you are eating less processed food. I mean, this is normal to her, and it is so not normal. You're not in a larger body. You made this body this size. You didn't just suddenly, have a Mini Cooper and then one day you woke up and you were in a fucking minivan. You did this. I did this when I was bigger. I did it. Nobody helped me. I wasn't living in a larger body. I was uh, medically obese because of what I was putting in my mouth.
accepted by society. They don't want to be taught that there's something wrong with them. So this belief system encourages diet culture. It encourages having this ladder effect where we are treating people who are thin and white at the top, and then everyone else can go below them. It's a social construct. It means nothing.
Yeah, it's a social construct, and it's unfortunate that human beings are not more evolved than that. But you personally can do something about it. People will treat you as well as you treat yourself. And if you walk into somewhere, regardless of if you're fat or not, I mean, she's making it sound like she walks down the street and people are throwing garbage at her because she's 100 pounds overweight or whatever she is. And she could do something about it. She could treat herself better. She could love herself. And she could love herself enough to cook her own food, to grow her own food, to order a meal service, to eat less fast food, to eat less sugar, less flour, less fucking soda.
What I eat in a day as a fat bitch. Okay, so I had an MRI this morning, couldn't fucking eat. That's weird. So then afterwards, my husband said, let's get McDonald's. And of course, I was on board. So this is me enjoying the most delectable medium fry. And I sadly did not get a McChicken today. I was feeling like a burger.
Today, meaning she probably eats fast food every day. And that's how you get to this size. It's not just magic. The law of thermodynamics applies to all of us. And the amount of chemicals that the human body that eats fast food is ingesting, this is the result of it. This is the result of the garbage that she's eating.
Girl kind of day. So that is a McDouble. Add mac sauce, and if you don't add mac sauce, fuck you. Oh fuck, that shit was good. My mouth's watering thinking about it. Okay, and then I washed it down with a Coke, a spicy Coke. Then I came home. This was a couple hours later, and a bitch was hungry. So I made the same wrap I had yesterday with roast beef, pickle, and cheddar cheese, but this time I added green onion. And bitch, I am literally fucking Gordon Ramsay. That shit was so good. I washed it down with water, and I had some strawberries because I was still hungry. And fuck, you see how red and juicy and plump that bitch is? Oh fuck. Okay, and then I was like, fuck, I'm still kind of hungry, like a little bit.
More processed.
So I had me some goldfish, and if you don't get the extra flavor blasted, fuck you. Great. Then for dinner, I had tilapia with dill sauce, some jasmine rice, and broccoli.
First real food she's eaten,
If you didn't
other
know,
than the
bitch
strawberries.
does like broccoli, and the food was delicious. I am absolutely a chef. Love you guys. Goodbye.
No snacks after that, huh?
Put the packet on the glass. What?
Why fat people can't just stop eating to lose weight? Nobody says you should stop eating. You should stop eating garbage.
Connecticut is New Jersey, got hella bricks. It's Queensbrook.
Oh, God. So my belly was not even that big, and I'm way older than this girl, and I found it unbearable. Like that, it must be these people, these youngsters today. They're growing up obese, and it just seems totally normal to them, and it's so not normal. But this is roughly the size that I was getting to at my heaviest weight. And it was so physically unbearable to me. I don't know how they do it.
Fit check. My shoes are Forever 21. My pants are American Eagle. My top is from Fashion Q. And my purse is from Burlington Coat Factory. Super cute.
God.
Oh, thanks. Where is it from? It's from Torrid. Wait, where? Just this place called Torrid. What did you say it was called? I'm gonna look this up. I can't believe I've never heard of this. I can. I can believe that you have never heard of this store because it's a plus size store for plus size people like me. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but the stores that you like and the stores that you shop at and all the stores that you care about, they only go up to like a size 12 or 14. And that actually only covers like 30% of women in America. But hey, since all of your
But
clothes
that used to be normal. People used to be a smaller size before the rise of fast food and processed food and all this garbage.
mainstream fashion, why would you ever stop to think about where the other 70% of women in America have to shop and what those stores' names are called and what kind of clothes they
Yeah,
carry?
because it's so hard to order clothes online. Like, I don't even know when the last time I went into a store to buy clothes. I wear a size 12 and I'm always ordering online. Who gives a shit? First world problems.
It's from Urban Outfitters. Oh my God, so cute.
The belly. The belly is just so sad.
Can I be your TikTok crush?
Okay, so this is Tammy Slayton from Thousand Pound Sisters, which I have to say I did watch and have kept up with. And she actually did get her gastric bypass surgery. She no longer has this trach, and she has lost a humongous amount of weight. So, Slay Queen. I mean, Like my thighs rub together, but how do you stand it when it's like that? That is just, she's young. She's 20s. She's, my God. I mean, she's must be used to this. This must be just normal to her, because otherwise, why wouldn't you work on yourself? You know, the time is going to pass anyway. Why wouldn't you try, if you love yourself so much that you're willing to dance around on video and post it online for the entire universe to see? Why wouldn't you love yourself enough to eat fucking real food, to work out, to treat yourself better so that your body was more efficient, was healthier? I mean, yeah, they all say, "Oh well, I my labs are perfect." Yeah, because you're in your 20s. You can fucking do anything when you're in your 20s, and your labs are going to be perfect. But just wait. Anyway, I'm gonna I'm gonna leave it there because I'm getting riled up. So thanks so much for watching, y'all, and I will see you in the next video.